Hey gang, welcome to Bald Eagle Fishing Adventures. And I wanted to let you guys know I'm kind of getting things ready now for crab season. It's finally coming. My favorite fishery of all time. Anyway, so I'm just getting my hoop nets out and starting to go through and check them. And I thought this would be a perfect time to do a quick little video just to give you guys a bit of an idea of what tips and stuff you can do with your hoop nets, what baits, certain things. I've had some questions actually from some of you subscribers already asking about the hoop nets and what my opinion is about certain things, and I thought this would be a great video to cover some of those things. So let's get started with it. So first thing is yes, hoop nets. I'm going to cover some of the regulation stuff on these hoop nets. And first and foremost, one of my subscribers did ask about when you're pier fishing, what are the regs about pier fishing with hoop nets? And the only thing that I could find under the regulations, and I was able to actually, it was a little bit difficult to find the information on the Department of Fish and Game site. I had to hunt around, and it was a bit difficult. So I ended up just Googling it, California regulations for hoop nets. And it took me right there. So I was able to get this information. So on the hoop nets, for pier fishing, the main thing that they have for the laws on that is you're only allowed two per person on a pier. If you're fishing from a pier or a jetty, you're only allowed two of them. And one of the questions was, okay, so is there any identification numbers or anything that needs to be put on those hoop nets that are being used off of a pier or off of a jetty? No, because you're not leaving them. You're going to be right there nearby. But no, there's nothing in the laws about having to have any kind of a Go ID number, which is basically your fishing license number. But like I said, you're only allowed two of them. So that's the law for pier fishing or jetty fishing. Now, when it comes to boats, that's a different story. So as far as how many of these hoop nets you can deploy, it's unlimited. So however many you can deploy is up to you. The big thing is yes, there is some restrictions about how they're set up, how they're deployed, and so forth. And I will be going over more of that, but towards the end of this video. So we'll get back to that, but there are some restrictions on that. So anyways, one of the things I wanted to cover was there's a 20% rule when you're deploying these hoop nets and even crab pots, which we're not really using much anymore because of the whale safety thing. But you want at least 20% extra rope. So, or some people say 20, some say 25, even 30. I run somewhere between 25 and 30% extra rope on my traps. So just quick numbers: if you're in 100, if you're going to be in 100 feet of water, you want 130 feet of line, 125 to 130 feet of line. That's kind of the rule of thumb. And then you can just kind of go from there. But yeah, so 25 to 30% is typically the rule of thumb for how much extra line you want on that, sitting up on that surface, either for swells and so forth, so your traps don't tend to walk off. Okay, so that's one. The other thing I wanted to go over too is how I set mine up. So this year particularly, and I think that's one of the reasons why I've gotten some questions, is some of the folks that would normally use salmon carcasses, salmon heads, even rockfish, and the carcasses of the rockfish. We didn't have a salmon year, obviously, and the rockfish near shore was cut pretty short. So unless you got out to deep water, you may not have any carcasses. And that's some of the questions I got. Well, what should I use? Chicken? Just any kind of carcass? And really, yeah, that's kind of pretty much it. Any kind of carcass will work. You know, whatever cheap meat you can buy. You know, a lot of people like to use chicken. That would work just fine. With chicken and rockfish, and this including rockfish, you're going to need a scent trail, because just by putting chicken in your hoop net, it's just not going to really work real well. It's not going to gather the crabs into that hoop net, because there's not a lot of scent to the chicken. It'll take some time. So in order to speed that process up, there's a really great way, simple way too. I get these little containers, and this is it's made by Ziploc. It's just a little plastic container. I mean, really, I get some of the little small ones. I don't have exactly what the size of this thing is, but I would say probably a half cup or cup, 8 ounces, something of that sort. Anyways, you get like 3 or 4 of these in a little container. And I think like at the dollar store, they're like $1 for 3 or 4 of them, or a couple bucks, whatever it is. They're really cheap. And then I just take and I drill, I don't know if you can see that, but I just drill some holes in there. And like I said, I bought, I don't know, a couple, 3 rounds of these things. So it gave me like 10 to 12 of these little cups, which is perfect. I got 10 of the hoop nets. And so I take one of these and I fill it about halfway. Right inside there, I just fill it up with some anchovies. You could put some squid in there, a combination of both. Any kind of really oily, stinky bait works phenomenal for putting a scent trail out. And that scent trail is what's really going to draw the crabs to the hoop net and into the hoop net. Why you want the carcass is because you want to keep those crabs there. And once they have found the chicken carcass or rockfish carcass or so forth, then they're going to stay in there and they're going to stay on it, and they're going to keep getting their little pinchers in there and keep working it until you can come and pull your traps. So scent trail is one key ingredient to having your carcass. So that's one. Now, if you're lucky enough and you've been out and maybe you got into some tuna, any tuna, as far as carcass goes, is going to leach beautifully in the water, and you may not even need any other scent trail. Those tunas, you know, albacore and all of that would be phenomenal in a bait bag like this. So anyways, that's kind of it on the bait stuff. If you guys have any questions, you can always send me a message and ask me whatever you got, and I'll answer it to the best of my knowledge. So that's it on this. So, probably should make one note here too. So what I do is, after I fill this jar up about halfway with anchovies, and I just pick up the bags of anchovies like at Outdoor Pro Shop or Bodega Bay Tackle. I love both of those places. They're phenomenal, great people in there. But I buy one of these bags. I think it's like $3.99, and one bag of these anchovies will do 10 of these cups for me. So, and again, you don't want to really stuff these things. You want to be able to have, you know, I cut them up into nice chunks, stick them in there, and then about half full on these containers. And then once you screw the lid back in place and the bait's in there, then you just take it and throw it right inside your bait bag. So I toss that right inside there, and then I put my carcass in here too, and then just slide the little locking thing in place, and there you go. And then everything is secured in here. And then I'm going to show you how I attach this to the actual trap. So let's do that. Oh, and one thing I wanted to show, might as well while I'm here. So here's my line that I have inside my hoop net. And my wife actually came up with these brilliant little ideas. And we picked up, I don't know, probably 15, 20 feet of these Velcro strips. Comes with one big old long strip. I think you get like 10 or 15 feet, something like that at Home Depot. And they're just these black Velcro strips. You can actually hear it. Anyway, so that's how I keep my rope. When I have my rope all back, and before I put it inside the trap, I'll roll it up real nice, and then just put one of these not zip ties. You could use a zip tie, I guess, but I just use the Velcro because I get to reuse it. and it holds it right in place, and you just right around like that, and then it keeps your rope nice and, you know, doesn't let it fall all apart and everything else. So just a little tidbit, you could put one on one side and one on the other. I just run one. So anyways, just a little bit of something on that. Okay, so that is there on the rope. Okay, so I'm going to point this down a little, this camera down a little bit so you guys can get a better idea what's kind of going on here. Okay, so the way I fasten mine is, hopefully you guys can see all of this going on here. I'm going to leave that. Let's get that down a little bit further. There we go. Make sure everybody's getting a good visual. So what I like to do is, here's your bait bag. So there's a metal ring in here on these hoop nets, and there's even a little bait slot in here, but there's not usually enough room to really put anything inside here. So I go with the actual bait bag, and I just take and I put this hook right through one end on one side, and I have it come through, get through here on this. Just something like that. And then I have it come out the other end over here. And then I just fasten it right like so. And that's it. And then that bait bag is it's nice and attached to that little center ring. And I'm going to pick this up and show you guys kind of what it looks like, so you have a little bit better idea. But pretty much that's it. And it's fastened right to that little metal ring, and that stays right down inside there. Here's the back side of what it looks like. So hopefully you guys can see all that. Anyways, like I said, if there's any questions, let me know, but that's kind of how that goes, and this is ready for deployment. One thing I wanted to go over too is some of this stuff, like with these bait bags. Let's go ahead and bring this back up. So the thing with these bait bags and stuff is you can do a lot of this when the boat is on the trailer. You could do it before you launch the boat. I have seen this over and over the last several years, and even particularly last year, and guys were out there, they get to the fishing grounds, and then they're working on their bait, and they're getting their carcasses, and they're getting stuff stuffed in it, and they're wasting time out on the area where they should be deploying their pots already, or hoop nets. And it's like, you can get all this done before you get out on the water. And so when you get to the grounds, you're just deploying and you're fishing. You're not wasting any time. So you might want to think about that. I usually get all my bait bags stuff done here at home, get all my carcasses in there, I get everything, put it in the cooler, get out to the berth, load it all into the boat. The hoop nets are already in the boat. And then once I get out to the fishing grounds, all I've got to do is just take the hoop nets and deploy them. And it goes really fast that way, and you're not sitting out there and you're bouncing all around the boat and all that stuff. So something just to think about. Habit, anything that helps you once you're on that water and you can start fishing, the faster the better. So anyway, that's that. Trying to think. I want to make sure I cover everything I can. On these bait bags too. I just spoke with some folks down there at Outdoor Pro Shop, and because they're out of them right now, but they're getting a huge shipment in around October 1st, maybe October 2nd. They said they had 2,000 of them coming in. So just so you guys have a little information about that. And I would imagine probably same thing for Bodega Bay Tackle, but I have not spoken with those nice folks. So you could check with them and see if they have any that you may need to get. But this is the time now that you actually want to kind of start going through your stuff and see what you're going to need. But yeah, I'll be back over there and pick up I need another bag or two at Outdoor Pro Shop. And like I said, they'll have them all in by October 1st, October 2nd, somewhere in there. Okay, now what I want to get to is the last important part of the regulations for on these hoop nets. And I saw a lot of buoys out there last year, and I'm sure some of you did too. I know I even spoke with some of you out on the water. And there was a lot of buoys out there that had no markings on them, and you have to, by the state of California law, as of last, and I want to make sure I'm reading this correctly, effective October 31st of 2022, okay, so last year, you have to have your Go ID number on your buoy if you're fishing from a boat, where you're going to be deploying them out from a boat, okay? And your Go ID is the 10-character number off of, should be like, I think, numbers and letters, I believe. Let's see, I think mine is just numbers, but you want to have that on your buoy. That is law. And there was a lot of them that had no markings on them. And, you get stopped by Fish and Game, it's a ticket. And if I'm correct, it's a violation on each trap that's in the water. And I personally have never heard of any fine being under $500. You got 10 of these out there at $500 a pop. Yeah, I wouldn't want to have to talk to the judge about that. So do yourself a favor. I don't want any of my fellow fishermen and women out there to be nailed for something that could easily be remedied by just getting a buoy and putting some numbers on it, putting your Go ID number on it specifically. So very important. I hope that you think about doing that. There's also one other regulation that I need to go over too, but I'm going to show you just real quick kind of what my, this is pretty much, let's see, I think it's probably going to need to read something like that. Anyways, that's all you need to do is just put your Go ID number on your buoy and you're good to go. I've had some of you ask, well, you have two buoys. Is it necessary to have two buoys? No, you can have a single buoy, you can have two buoys, you can have three buoys. The regs on that, they don't specify how many buoys. So just one is fine. I have some of my hoop nets that only have one float, and that's just perfectly fine. But I do like to have the little one on top. It just kind of makes it nice for using the boat hook right here and nab it up out of the water. So anyways, any questions on any of that, give me a shout. Last but not least, and I think I covered this in one of my crab videos for last year, but I'm not 100% sure, and I definitely wanted to let you know. So this is an actual measuring device. You need to have this. A tape measure is not going to cut it. It has to be something that California, Washington, Oregon, I guess all of these places use these specific measuring devices. Very important. And the other part to that is, and I think this is a new law for last year, is every single person on your boat has to have one of these in possession of taking crab. So you got 5 people on board and you've got 5 limits of crab on board, you need to have 5 of these on board. So I just make sure that I've got several of these things sitting on the boat because I don't want anyone to get in trouble, including myself. So I make sure everybody's got one of these, and these things are cheap. This happens to be an aluminum one. They have them in plastic, I think, for like a couple bucks. This was $4.99. So anyways, just so you know. Okay, I think that's it, guys. I can't really think of much else other than I'm really excited for the crab season. As you can tell, this is into September. I'm really fired up, getting my stuff out and getting ready. And I wish all of you a very awesome crab season. I hope that it is just off the hook for all of you. Anyways, till the next time, love all of you. Appreciate it. If you found this video interesting and helpful and you got some good tidbits out of it, please hit that subscribe button. My wife and I sure do appreciate you guys. Hey, we'll see you on the next video. Take care, gang. Bye.